Hello, welcome to the Geekery Barn. I'm your host, Otaku Mom. This is our first episode in this format, and what we're going to do is simple. I'm going to start with a topic that has been dominating the news of geekdom as of late, and then I'll either talk with a guest or address. Sorry, my throat's a little off today. So, address another random topic that's been on my mind this week. And tonight we are going to start the show with a doozy. It's a serious topic that has been hitting a lot of industries, and I feel like it needs to be addressed because it's now gotten way out of hand. And that is the Gates situation. So what is the Gates situation, you ask? Have you ever heard of Gamergate? What about Comicsgate? Well, both situations often start with those within a given industry, usually someone who hasn't been in the industry long, who tries to make a big deal out of nothing. And when those industries try to appease these people, they find out quickly that their original fans are now abandoning them and trying to find somewhere else to get their entertainment, spawning an independent industry that doesn't have to conform to those rules. With Gamergate, we saw this when a small minority of people who criticized the gaming industry made a stink over the situation involving programmer Zoe Quinn and a text-based game she created called Depression Quest, which was meant to reflect her experiences with depression. Gaming journalists praised the game, but regular gamers were not happy with the fact that it was text-based and that it pushed what they saw was a political agenda. Fair enough, I think, but as people are wont to do online, some took it too far, harassing her and sending her death threats. At one point, she was doxxed, so she had to move from her home. But it got worse when an ex-boyfriend of hers made a post accusing Quinn of sleeping with a Kotaku reporter for a good review, which the writer in question did not write a review of her game, and that the only article he wrote about her was before they started their relationship. From there, any female in gaming would get harassed by the worst of the worst online, which would include, among another programmer named Brianna Wu and Anita Sarkeesian, who wound up using that hate to her advantage to raise money for her Indiegogo campaign for a multi-part series she would do on video game tropes and women, but more on her later. And Gamergate is where we would hear the first use of the term social justice warrior, or SJW, as a more negative term. Comicsgate doesn't seem to have a starting origin, but just grew out of frustration of what some comics fans called an increase in forced diversity. Instead of focusing on the stories, they argued, comic book writers are more concerned about pushing their personal politics in their books. One of the more notable moments in this movement has been the Jawbreakers controversy. Richard Meyer, who runs the YouTube channel Diversity in Comics, had his comic blacklisted from the comic stores, and two of the stores in question were attacked in the real world by supporters, in quotes. But even those who haven't even taken a side in Comicsgate have been attacked, with Peter Samedi, who owns Alternate Comics, is not involved in Comicsgate, getting swatted this week while he was doing a live stream in his home. And now we have what some are now calling AnimeGate, which started a few weeks ago. Now, the timing of this one is suspicious because it just so happened to come out opening week of the new Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, which has been doing really well at the box office since its release. But it started with a post that criticized voice actor Vic Mignogna, who is well known for his roles in many anime dubs, including the Dragon Ball series, among others, accused of being a homophobe because he wouldn't sign someone's yaoi picture. For those listening who are not in the anime fandom, yaoi are men-on-men stories and pictures that have a loyal fan base. Despite the interpretation, it's not all porn. A good majority of what I've seen at conventions has been, but not all of it is. In his defense, Mignogna said he didn't sign anything that was not canon with the project that he was working on, and he was not anti-LGBT despite his Christian views. There is a video floating around where he talks with some anti-LGBT Christian activists. Christian activists showing his support for the community, and I'm just going to let you know I am reading from a script so I can keep this straight. And he's also done an audiobook for a story involving two gay werewolves. So yeah, but when that accusation came out, more serious allegations came out about him being a little too touchy-feely with fans and escalated to some people telling stories of him raping or manipulating women to sex. Even some of his co-workers have been piling on him, with voice actress Monica Rial coming forward with a story of her own regarding Mignogna's behavior. Now, on those allegations, Mignogna himself at an anime con apologized, admitting that he might have unintentionally gotten a little too close to some of his fans, and said he would stop with the hugs and kisses from now on. On other allegations, he's apologized to co-workers for not knowing they felt the way they did, but also denied the more serious allegations. But since then, Funimation and Rooster Teeth have dropped Mignogna from doing voice work for them from now on, and people are still piling on. Now, on AnimeGate, I'm in the camp that I'm neutral on the whole thing as to I don't know how much to believe and how much to dismiss regarding Mignogna. Part of that is because there is evidence showing that there are people who have made up, or at least talked about making up, allegations against Mignogna who were caught on social media. Yellow Flash had a video where he highlighted a Facebook group that featured some people talking about photoshopping evidence. And a story written by Anime News Network that featured pictures of fans getting hugs and kisses on the cheek from Mignogna was criticized because one of the pictures featured was debunked by the alleged victim, who said that the pictures were consensual and with her parents standing nearby. But this isn't the only recent controversy in anime. This season, the show The Rising of the Shield Hero has been criticized by anime journalists because the main plot point involves false rape allegations. If you go on ANN with the first episode, you'll see how wildly diverse the reaction of the journalist is versus the general audience of the anime, while the journalist gave the show rating between burn it in a dumpster fire to 2 stars. Viewers have so far given it a 4.5 out of 5. But you must love the Japanese, and it must love the Japanese. In an interview with producer Junichiro Tamura, when asked about a possible second season of the show, he stated that the show did not get any controversy in his country, so the show seems likely to continue with Western support. But all 3 of these stories highlight a big issue that has been going on for a long time, and what is driving me today to speak about this. People are upset about how an industry handles itself, so they want to change it. Now, anime would be a very hard thing to change. It's from another country, and their culture is not our culture. If you don't like giant robots or boobs with physics-defying properties, don't watch. You can't change an entire culture. Not to say it hasn't been tried. Crunchyroll tried to release an original anime that ticked off a bunch of social justice boxes, and it got criticized heavily not only because it was bad, but also because subscribers to their services were angry because they wasted their money on creating this production instead of bringing over anime shows. But Gamergate and Comicsgate are local controversies, and both involve people from the outside looking in. People who join these communities immediately want changes that suit their particular political ideals. Now, I mentioned Anita Sarkeesian earlier when I was talking about Gamergate. She is a prime example of this. She has a channel called Feminist Frequency, where she does videos that look at things from a feminist perspective. Most of the time, I don't agree with her because I think she reads too much into things. And from her own mouth, she would agree with me. Sarkeesian has been quoted as saying, "Everything's racist, everything's sexist, everything's misogynist, and it's up to us to point it all out." Her series, Women in Tropes and Video Games, was heavily criticized when the episodes were finally released because of her trying to look through this lens. Now, I don't like to question other people's fandoms, but here's a clip of Sarkeesian from 2010 talking about her interest in video games. So I'm going to find this clip and put that on here. Let's see here. Did we get that up? Let's see. Okay, and pardon the initial. Here it is. So this is the clip.
I'm going to show you a remix that I just finished this weekend and no one else has seen. One person has seen it. It's a soundtrack of one song, except I'm doing video games. So it's not exactly a fandom. I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this.
There's too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks.
To me, the song is positive just because I've only contextualized it in a way to critique male domination in our media. And also video games, like I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping out their heads. It's just gross. So hence this is my response to that.
Okay, so now she is what I would call a fake gamer girl. She built her series on a false premise of being a gamer when she says in this clip that she isn't one. And on top of that, there's evidence that shows some of the footage she used was taken from Let's Plays on other YouTube channels. But if you criticize her on any point, you're a misogynist. This is a conversation worth having in 2019. We need to learn to let people have their fun and not criticize it to death. Comicsgate is influencing comic sales, where the term get woke, go broke has been circulating the rounds. And that can apply to any industry. Not all, but those who become fans of a medium and try to change it right away were never really fans to begin with. And that's my word for this week. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I apparently forgot to do something over here. So I am going to let's get up here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm just going to watch the stream from this so I can get the link. Let's see here. I'm just going to watch the stream from this so I can get the link. Okay, there we go. Let's see here. I'm just going to watch the stream from this so I can get the link. Okay, there we go. Let's see here. I'm just going to... Okay, there we go. So I just shared that on Twitter. And so if you have any thoughts, you can put down in the comments down below if you happen to be listening to this later, which I don't see anybody in the chat right now. So I'm hoping over time we'll have more people joining us to actually join us on these chats. And you'll have to pardon me, my voice is going, but I didn't want to disappoint anybody. I wanted to do this stream tonight. So I probably won't last too long. I'll probably just go over the other two things I wanted to go over, and then I'll end the stream. And I'm hoping that once I get some guests, I know there's one person I want to get. That I just gotta, at some point, we're gonna get together and talk about what we're gonna do. So I can get him over here, because I've been on his show, although that one didn't show up, but I got to get him over here at some point. So, and then we could probably start getting more and more people to come in to talk with us. So, so hopefully that will work out. So let's see here. So we're still live. Good. A little thing I was concerned about. Okay. So anyway, so the other thing I want to talk about, a little more lighthearted, upcoming movie trailers. Let me get that up here. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of new trailers that have come out. So I'm going to do screen share so we can look at the trailers here. Okay, so I'm going to share that. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some trailers. And some of these have gotten some interesting reactions this week. So I'm just going to put this here. And we'll just put the screen up like that. Okay, so the first one I want to take a look at is Aladdin, because there's been a lot of reaction to this particular trailer, and when we get to it, I will show you why. So let's see here. So let's take a look at the trailer, and then we'll comment on it afterwards. So what we got? Aladdin. We got it's starting to look like the movie, the cartoon.
Bring me the lamp.
Iago's voice is a little funky.
Aladdin.
Yeah, that does not sound like too menacing. Hopefully they change that between now and before the movie comes out. So yeah, the very quick trailer.
You really don't know who I am. Genie, wishes, lamp.
This is what people have been reacting to. This is the first look we've had of Will Smith as the genie. So people online on Twitter have been comparing him to look like a Smurf, to looking like one of the blue aliens from Avatar. All kinds of different comments on his look here, and some people were defending his look, and some people were like, "What did you expect a blue Will Smith to look like?" And, you know, obviously this is all CGI, so this may be just the early stages of the CGI, so this might not be a cleaned up CGI, so we can't really judge it too much by the trailer. The only thing we can judge it by the fact is that Will Smith, after the trailer came out, the only thing he said was, "I told you I was blue," in the movie. So it looks like he's in two forms in the film. One is his human form, which he looks more like a regular Will Smith, and then you have this blue Smurfy form, and it's like people can't make up their minds. They're like, because I guess on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, he didn't look he didn't have the blue look. He looked like the human genie, and it was like, why isn't he blue? Why isn't he blue? So now they show the blue genie. Put him back in the bottle. Put him back in the bottle. That's pretty much been the reaction. Me, I don't know if I'll see this. If it comes on Netflix, I might. I don't know yet. I think I'll have to take another look at another trailer to figure that out, to see if it'd be worth my time. So the next trailer, this one, Child's Play. I've been hearing about this one for a while, that they've been doing a remake, that they're going to do a remake. So we're going to watch the trailer, and then we will talk about what changes they are making to this film.
We believe that happiness is about more than entertainment. It's about being known.
So you're noticing one of the first changes is that Chucky's no longer a doll. He's like a robot. Promising. I liked it. I like the fact that they made Andy look older in this one, because in the original he was like 6. And I don't know if you heard it, they call him Chucky, so he's still going to be called Chucky. Okay, so some of the changes I've heard that they're going to be making to this one, and from what I understand, a lot of the changes they're making are because of the fact that the original Chucky series is still going on. I'm just going to take a drink of my soda here real quick so I can talk. Is because it's still going on, and that MGM, who owns the rights to the first Child's Play movie, does not own the rights to the rest of them. Actually, I think they might own the rights to 5 too, but they might not want to mess with 5. But they only own the rights to the first one. And so in order for them to have their own series of Child's Play movies, they had to make some changes to Chucky to make him and some changes to the original story to make it different enough for them to be able to do their own sequels. So what they did was, for them to be able to do that, is that in this version of Child's Play, Chucky is no longer a possessed doll who was taken over by a voodoo serial killer. And then what they did was they decided to make it a commentary on technology and its dangers. So Chucky is now like an AI robot. Is now like an AI robot. He's no longer called a good guy doll. He's a buddy doll. He has some AI capabilities which could lend itself to other things, other ways of possibly getting his victims. They kept the single mother aspect, so the mother is still a single mother with a son. Um, but in the original Child's Play, Andy was 6. They made him 12, about 12. In this one, so they aged him up, which was probably a good idea. And for those who like, it wouldn't a 12-year-old wouldn't play with dolls. Just remember, it's an AI doll, so he probably might want one because he might think it's cool. Um, so, and the one thing we didn't get a really good look at Chucky in this one. I mean, there is a poster out there that shows like half his face. And don't believe the picture that you might have seen. Somebody actually photoshopped what Chucky might look like based on that poster by just basically mirroring and doing some funky photoshopping to it. So that might be the closest thing we might get to actually getting an idea of what he looks like. But don't trust the picture. It's not the truth. It's fake news, people. So yeah, somebody photoshopped the picture to try to get an idea of what Chucky's going to look like, and did a really good job of it too. But we'll see. It's probably going to be the closest we'll get to a first look for now. The movie's coming out in June. From what I understand, Don Mancini, who created the movies, is not pleased with this remake. He wasn't told they were doing one, and nobody had asked for his permission, especially since he's still continuing the current Child's Play series. So, because he actually has a TV series coming out soon on Sci-Fi. So, which is going to actually kind of continue the thread from Cult of Chucky, where the killer Charles Lee Ray found out on the internet how he could split his soul into other dolls. So, so it's going to continue that. It's the series is apparently going to continue that, where Charles Lee Ray has put his soul into other dolls, and see where that goes. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, he wasn't too happy about that they were going to do this because he wasn't told. And it also because of that, he also had to change the series name. So right now, the working title of the new series, it was going to be Child's Play. But because of the new movie, because of this remake, they had to change the title to Chucky. So that's the current working title. They may still change it again, but but right now that's where it stands. So you're gonna end up with another Chucky movie in the theaters, and now you're gonna end up with a Chucky TV series. So, and just as a personal reference, when this movie first came out, obviously I wasn't allowed to see it because it was rated R, and so my parents didn't let me see rated R movies until I turned 18, and so when seeing the trailers of this one kind of creeped me out a little bit, and it didn't help that this was the one year where one Christmas my cousin on Christmas Eve we were over at somebody's house, and they had one of those talking dolls, and the thing just randomly would go off. So finally, to try to shut it up, we took the batteries out, and the thing still kept talking. It really creeped us out. So I think there might have been some extra batteries in it that we weren't aware of, but yeah, that was really creepy. So moving on. Okay, so the next trailer that I want to talk about. A lot of these Frozen 2. Okay, so let's look at Frozen 2. Let's look here. Yeah, so you see Elsa at the ocean. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on here. Interesting. Excuse me. Okay, interesting. Makes you wonder if this is like supposed to be like gonna be a training montage, or well, not a montage, but like a training scene where she's just learning how to control her powers again, or hopefully the release doesn't still coincide with the coldest winter in years like it did last time. So yeah, so it looks like that they're on another adventure. So this time it's going to be Anna and yeah, so it looks like it's going to be Anna and Elsa and Sven on another adventure for this one. So it looks pretty good. I mean, it's a first look. It's only like not a very long look at it, but it gives you some interesting little details there about what's coming up on the film and what'll be coming up for the upcoming year. For the upcoming movie. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. And just give you a good idea of what's coming up. And why do I keep coming up? Because my head is frozen and and my throat is hurting. So, okay. So the other one I wanted to take a look at was not Long Shot. That's like your typical romantic, schlubby romantic comedy. Ma looked interesting. Here's the other one. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. This now, I mean, there's been a trailer out. This is a new look. And this is a new, I guess, TV spot that's going to be airing.
So you're talking Pikachu.
So this isn't very long.
He's addicted to caffeine.
This is what a Frenchman would call caliente fiesta.
It's not French.
There's magic that brought us together.
Like a tongue.
That magic is called hope. We're gonna do this. You and me. Your body works. Where? Enough of the games. Say it. Just say it.
Pokemon Detective Pikachu, only in theaters May 10th.
Okay, so yeah, so you got a good look at Lickitung there. Good close up of a Bulbasaur. And a few other things. And, you know, it's really sad that I know who these Pokemon are. But I have a good excuse. I have a son. And plus, I also used to play Pokemon, so I know some of these characters. So, yeah, that actually looks pretty good. I will probably go see it. I've become a very big Ryan Reynolds fan in the past few years. So, yeah, because, and I know in the past I kind of made jokes about and with Ryan Reynolds doing the voice of Pikachu. I posted a picture of a Deadpool Pikachu because it sounds like because with the Ryan Reynolds voice, you just can't help but think of Deadpool. But it's just hysterical. But yeah, that's why from what I understand, the early looks have been getting some really good reviews. It's been getting some really good reaction from audiences, so that might end up actually doing pretty good at the theater. So we will see. Let's see what else. And I think there was one more I wanted to take a look at. Here we go. Now, I saw this trailer. Now, if you're not aware, I'm going to hide it here. If you're not aware of what the hustle is, take a look at the trailer. And this is before I even found out what this was. I saw the hustle and I didn't know what the story was about. And then when I looked at the trailer, it reminded me of another movie. So let's see if you can figure out what the movie is.
glass of water.
Oh, and she's in Isn't It Romantic, which is out this weekend too. So
Like by men who sell hot white virgins to bajillionaires on yachts.
I am very moved by your story. Order anything you like.
I'll have a club sandwich and an order of fries, 2 slices of cake. Do you want any cake?
No.
3 slices of cake and a Diet Coke. Impressive. I'm a con artist.
Sisters in arms.
I had no idea how small time I was until I met you.
Penny.
Why are women better suited to the con than men? Because we're used to faking it.
Because no man will ever believe a woman is smarter than he is.
Is it valuable?
$500,000.
I like it because it's shiny. I could be the partner you never knew you needed. Teach me your sugar baby ways. Take this to the gastro butlery person.
First lesson, there's nothing more compelling to a man than a vulnerable woman. Observe.
Wow, you can just tear up like that. Can you make the tear roll down your cheek? Oh.
Now you try. Are you constipated?
She's all you ever want. She's the kind I'd like to flaunt and take to dinner.
If you want to be like me,
have you figured it out yet?
in this situation.
She always knows her place. She's got style, she's got grace. She's a winner.
He's ready.
He's the mark.
He's a tech millionaire.
Billionaire, I bet.
Try to be as inconspicuous as possible.
True. Yep, one person walking here. If this person would just scoot over, would you mind, sir? Sir?
Men always underestimate us, and that is what we use.
Let her get away.
Dressy, did it again.
Release the peasant!
She must mean pheasant, monsieur.
Don't worry, darling, he's a terrible shot.
Oh, that was unexpected.
Okay, so you probably figured it out if you've ever seen it. If you haven't, there was a very, very funny movie in 1988 called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, starring Steve Martin and Michael Caine. Basically the same plot. Steve Martin played this American who was coming overseas, who was discovered on a train by Michael Caine, and they get together and they discover and he discovers that they're the con artists. So first Michael Caine tries to take him under his wing, but then they get into a competition as to who could scam this rich American soap actress first. So that's basically the whole movie, is them trying to scam this rich American actress. And the movie is hysterical, and the original movie is hysterical. I know it's been like criticized recently for having these movies that are like all female just for the sake of having them all female. I actually think this could be an interesting take on having 2 females instead of 2 males, because of the fact that men and women do think very differently, and seeing how a female con artist works versus a male con artist could be an interesting take. So that would be good. This might be funny. We'll figure it out when it comes out. It has again Anne Hathaway, Rebel Wilson, and I don't understand why nobody likes Anne Hathaway. I liked her and stuff, but she's been good. She's been good in some stuff. I don't understand why some people don't like her. And it's like I'm watching the trailer and I'm recognizing some of the beats that I saw in there from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels that I remembered. So we will see. We will see when that one comes out. I think that's coming out this summer, so I will have to look that up. So those are the looks at. So the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the recent story of Vox Media trying to suppress criticism with false DMCA notices. Now, if you're not aware of what happened recently, if you're not aware of the story from like, I want to say back in November, I think, if I remember correctly. It was late last year. And I remember it specifically. I remember it because I actually used it as a news of the week item thing for one of my computer classes, and that was that the the Verge, which is owned by Vox Media, had put out this computer guide on building had put out this guide on building a $2,000 PC. PC with $2,000 worth of parts. And they botched it up so badly that it became a meme. Now, if you don't know computers or how computers are put together, I was actually taking a class on how to do this, and I'm watching this video. I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Because he was using like a Swiss Army knife with a screwdriver in it. It's like, why is he doing that? He was calling twist ties tweezers. He was talking about an anti-static bracelet, which is a good thing when you're building a computer. But what he put on was not an anti-static bracelet. It was like a Livestrong bracelet, one of those plastic bracelets you can pick up for like 5 cents or whatever at the store. He was putting the RAM in the wrong slots. He was putting the power supply on upside down. The video was a mess. And after the video came out, a lot of YouTubers were commenting on this video, and they were doing a lot of commentary on it, and just and we're making fun of this video like you wouldn't believe. And one of those was, I'm not going to play the video, but this is one you should look up. Lyle reacts to the Verge's PC build video. This is Bitwhip. He does it as his character Lyle. The guy's name is actually Kyle. He does it as his character Lyle, who is like this over exaggerated Asian stereotype character. Is like he doesn't know what to really do and all that. And I should point out Lyle is half Asian, so he can do this character. But anyway, so this week it came out that that video was taken down for copyright, along with the video that Review Tech USA also did on the same thing. Both were taken down for copyright because the claim that they used 90% of the video for the commentary, and they were fixed. They got back up. As you can see, I was able to bring that up. And and a lot of the reason why that video got so much traction at the time was because of the fact that when it happened, The Verge just kind of doubled down on the whole thing. They were saying, "Oh, it was nothing wrong with it," and then they tried to blame people call people racist for criticizing the host, who just happened to be black. No, he was black, but he was also a dumbass in trying to build his computer. And it was like absolutely no excuse for him to have built the computer this badly, because of the fact that there were 11 people working on this video that were listed in the credits, and none of them thought to correct anything. And the worst was it was a sponsored video. Capital One was sponsoring the video. They did eventually pull it down from the criticism, but yeah, they basically, Bitwit and Review Tech USA, they were both had copyright strikes put on their videos as a silencing tactic, and that's not right. Just because somebody doesn't like what you have to say does not mean they have the right to copyright strike your video. And um, and so and again, the Verge should have just left well enough alone. But no, they can't. No, they made their own comment where the short of it was their comment was basically, out of the goodness of our hearts, we allowed the videos to stay back up, even though one of them had a racist portrayal. Did they bother to ask the guy? You know, it's not up to them to judge whether something's racist or not. As to whether they want a video pulled down. It's not their channel. It's not their video to determine or not. That should not be a factor. I mean, if you have legitimate copyright claims, that's one thing. But they did not have a legitimate claim here. They were commenting on it. And this is all based on a recent case involving another YouTuber, H3H3, who was being sued by another YouTuber of who they were taking a video of theirs and taking a video of his, and they played it on their channel, and they were basically commenting on the video. The guy sued them for copyright claim, saying that the fact that they put their video on there without his permission, it was that they broke copyright, and court ruled in their favor, in H3H3's favor, saying no, they were commenting on the video, so they have the right. So because that set the precedent, so that they can comment on these videos, and they can comment on the videos and say whatever they want to say on the video, and so it will. So it's considered a transformative work. So they have no right to it. And it was a silencing attempt. They were trying to quash their critics, even though the video is no longer on their channel anymore. They are so embarrassed by this video that they're trying to quash anybody who even had it up there. So, but luckily, I do encourage you, if you didn't see it at the time it came out, I encourage you to go watch it now, because it is hysterical. Because he really lays into this guy through the video, through this character. So it's hysterical. So yeah, so check it out. And so my voice is starting to go, so I am going to head out for the night. So I encourage you, tune in again. I'm going to try to do this again one more time. So this is Otaku Mom, and you just have a good night. And I'm going to get out of here. So you have a good night.